Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1492. We will talk about 1492 for a while later. And today we are reading Listen, Learn, Love How to Dramatically Improve Your Relationships in 30 Days or Less. Now, this is crazy good that you can do this. Can you do this? You have to be brave. So, Susie Albert Miller, she had a foreword by Beth and Jeff McCord, Publishers Weekly best-selling authors of Becoming Us. Now, in chapter 4, we read about treasure hunts. And I think I can use my glasses. Look at this. It's got a page of glasses, so that reminds me. Truth is by Tom Hanks. Truth is, it's a quote. Truth is, I'll never know all there is to know about you, just as you will never know all there is to know about me. Humans are by nature too complicated to be understood fully, so we can choose either to approach our fellow human beings with suspicion or to approach them with an open mind, a dash of optimism, and a great deal of candor. I'll tell you something. I talk to people in the elevators. I am one of the few people that will do such a thing like this, and I will talk. And yesterday I was at the drugstore and I was saying something that reminded the person in front of me that she wanted to pull out a coat that looked like mine, and she said that to me. She said, "Oh, I somehow opened the conversation, and then she wound up and said, "Oh, I love your coat, and it was a fur mob wife coat. I I want to pull out my orange one. It's a burnt orange one." And I said, "Oh, burnt orange is my favorite color." So you just talk to people and you find out. I mean, honestly, when I first saw her, I thought of her with a grim face. I said, "Oh, she's not one to talk to. She looks like she's glum, you know?" But as I stood in line behind her, I decided to speak. She was with her husband, as it turned out, two of them together, and I just spoke to the air and I said something. I can't remember what I said. It was something about, oh, they never expect you to stand in line for an hour, some crazy thing like that. Yeah, say something crazy. No, 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 no. Say something matter of factly. And then that opened a conversation. Her face suddenly changed. And I thought, wow, I brought a smile to her face. I mean, it became a default smile. And then another time on the bus, I'm in San Francisco, and there is quite a lot of issues around here as far as I hate to discuss race, but my race goes into my daily life because I live it every minute of my life, right? I mean, somebody can say, "Oh, I never have that happen," or they can say, "Oh, I had the worst thing happen to me because I was white," and they'll tell you the story. And I'll go on a bus, and day after day, minute after minute, I have to watch out for somebody who hates me for being Chinese. And I looked at a woman. I saw her eyes hurt me. Her eyes hurt me the way they looked at me. And then so I smiled at her. At one point, I just kind of looked barely in her direction, kept my face pointed in that direction. I wasn't looking at her. But as she looked at me, I immediately smiled, and her face went like that. It wasn't a smile, but it became a default, no longer grim, no longer hatred face. So it makes a difference to speak with candor. I'll read this quote again just because. Truth is, I'll never know all there is to know about you, just as you will never know all there is to know about me. Humans are by nature too complicated to be understood fully, so we can choose either to approach our fellow human beings with suspicion or to approach them with an open mind, a dash of optimism, and a great deal of candor. Tom Hanks. Skill number 2 by Susie Albert Miller. Listen, learn, love. How to dramatically improve your relationship in 30 days or less. Skill number 2, learn them. Learn them. One of my closest friends is Southern, and one day while talking about her new husband, she said, I just have to learn him. I wasn't sure exactly what she meant. It was a new term for this northern gal. She explained, this simply means learning about him, understanding his ways, preferences, styles of giving and showing love, his moods when he is angry, hungry, discouraged, tired, excited. Learn him means really getting to know him. I love this term, she says. Learn them. That's the term. Learn them. It's like a foreign language, but it's a really good term for our English language. And this woman was Southern. Learn them. Perfectly, perfectly captures the process of discovery essential to any thriving relationship. Thriving. Learning people creates deeper connections. It is restful and gratifying when someone really knows you, gets you, and enjoys you. We find comfort in familiarity. Isn't it heartwarming when your friend brings you a cup of coffee just the way you like it? Sorry. You realize she paid attention to your likes, dislikes. Shut up, Mary. You realize she paid attention to your likes, dislikes, preferences. Feeling known has a positive impact on the way you interact and strengthens your relationship. We are created for authentic relationships, deep and meaningful connections, where we let down our guard, remove our masks, turn off the filter, relax, and show our real selves. Now, that's kind of what I did in line. And trust me, I was ready, believe you me, I was ready to go back into stranger mode any minute, any second. But that's what I did in line yesterday. Have you ever done that? She says. Have you ever spent time with someone and been totally you? Uncensored. You didn't have to be on or careful on, like quotations. You didn't have to be on or carefully weigh each word or monitor your mood, where instead of a chess game, your time together resembled a ramble down the lazy river, comfortable, easy, and safe. Authentic relationships are restful. Skill number 2, learn them, will dramatically improve any relationship. It communicates, you matter. You are worth investing my time and effort to know you more fully. What's more, it's fun. Learning the people who matter most is a lifelong expedition. There is always something new to discover and enjoy. Here's a quote by Rainer Maria Rilke. Rainer, like a verb for rain, and then Maria, and then Rilke, Ralke, or Rilke, right? Or Rilke? I don't know. A person isn't who they are during the last conversation you had with them. They're who they've been throughout your whole relationship. We often fool ourselves into thinking we know the important people in our lives, when what we actually have is an image of who we think they are, which can have gaps or even be inaccurate. Probably yes, always. Peering into a kaleidoscope, we see an image. If we stopped at the one image and didn't investigate further, we would miss the richness and, quite frankly, the purpose of the kaleidoscope. However, if we continue to look and adjust the lens, we would see this slightest turn creates ever changing patterns, colors with shifting images and nuanced beauty, a whole new dimension altogether. The process of discovering and learning people on a deep and personal level is similar. God made each of us unique, complex, and multifaceted. As life unfolds, we grow, change, evolve, and become. Learning someone is never boring. People are complex and fascinating. Think about how deeply you really know the important people in your life. What comes to mind? Their shoe size, favorite candy, movie, coffee, preference, favorite meal, book, vacation spot? Fun things, yes, but have you learned them? Their hopes, fears, tendencies, strengths, weaknesses, joys, and struggles? Learning them involves intentionally seeking out below the surface revelations. What are their dreams, struggles, experience? In essence, what is their story? What makes them tick? And how are they unique? In my consulting work with clients, we often talk about knowing their customer. There are metrics, data mining, and poring over survey answers to better understand the people we do business with. This is essential for business success. But what if we brought the same curiosity and intensity to our personal and collegial relationships? I believe relationships, both personal and professional, would flourish if we committed to learning the people in our life and seeking to understand them more deeply. When our interactions are born of genuine interest in who they are at a core level, relationships grow and succeed. Here's a quote by Marcel Proust. Proust. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. Whoa. There's a quote also, I'll add in a quote that somebody famous said, a traveler without observation is like a bird without wings. I read that someplace too. That was kind of like this as well. Learn them is not figuring out the things you would like to change about your spouse, friends, loved ones, or coworkers and developing a plan or campaign to do so. Tweaking, correcting, or making negative comments regarding what you learned, invading their privacy, demanding answers and revelations rather than paying attention to clues. So, Susie says, my husband, John, enjoys watching sports, all sports. Learning him means knowing that after a stressful week, watching sports and napping is often his idea of a perfect Sunday afternoon. Learning him means not only accepting this about him, but also respecting it and not making comments about how I might think it is a waste of time or planning something else for us to do instead. Learning him means I make my own plans on Sunday afternoons or discuss potential couple plans in advance. Sometimes learning him means hanging out on the couch watching the game with him. Learning me means he records some games and joins me on some Sunday outings. However, all bets are off during the World Cup. This sounds so amicable and lovely. However, it was not always this way. We have worked hard on learn them, and doing so has greatly improved our marriage. So she says in parentheses. Learning them is studying them, observing nonverbal cues, going on a treasure hunt, asking questions, listening to their answers, and seeking out stories. Watching and investigating. Go all CSI on them and see what you can dig up. Very few of us feel deeply known. Marriages in the United States are filled with lonely people living like roommates and coexisting on a surface level with the love of their life, quote unquote. Now, go all CSI on them and see what you can dig up. You know, I'm going to suggest something, Susie. I'm going to suggest something which is called Truth Finder, which is a background checker. And you can get a membership for it around $20 or $30 each month. And, you know, there are two people that I looked up that I knew, well, was getting to know, and they turned out to be really disguised criminals. So maybe that's a CSI thing that we could add in there. Maybe. Something like that. Anyway, I mean, don't use it to criticize people. Oh, I saw you. You used to drive funny. You know, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because those are all in the past. It's just you're looking for big things like child molesters or something. You don't want those, criminals. Anyway, back to Susie Albert Miller. We are created for deep connection on a soul or spiritual level, and this happens when we learn them. When we take time to put aside our agenda, our multitasking, and fully pay attention, we check our eyes, adjust our vision, get out our perspectacles, and look for hidden treasures. Sadly, most of us don't feel known or have a deep sense of belonging. Can you relate? How did you picture your life when you were younger? Are you enjoying the life and relationships you dreamed about and anticipated when you couldn't wait to grow up? For most of us, the honest answer is no, not really. Or we may be able to say, well, some, kinda. But my guess is we would all raise our hands if asked, who wants a better relationship with their spouse, kid, family, friends, clients, or coworkers? Good news, when we take the time to see with new eyes, to investigate and discover more about our loved ones, understanding increases and connections deepen. Relationships get better. Maybe not fairy tale quality, but meaningful and rewarding we can do. Reality check. If your relationships are going to grow and change, you must be the one to take action. Once you begin to use skill number 2, learn them with just one or two of the most important people in your life. You will see a positive shift in these relationships. For example, you may notice your spouse is weary and a bit short-tempered on Tuesdays, their busiest day of sales calls and potential rejections. After dinner, you take charge, delegate dish duty, get the kids ready for bed, and give them instructions to simply relax and unwind. Maybe your sister is distant and distracted on the phone. Instead of making small talk, you boldly break the family don't ask, don't tell rule and blurt out, okay, what's going on? I can tell something is bothering you. However, she avoids your question. Your sister doesn't like discussing uncomfortable things and is very private. Plus, she isn't going to break the family rule. You know this because you learned her. So instead of forcing the conversation, you drop it. But the next day, you pop a card in the mail telling her she is in your thoughts and to call if she needs or wants to talk. A coworker comes to you with a new idea but is hesitant to share it at an upcoming meeting because they are relatively new to the firm and get tongue-tied when stressed. You decide to help them construct a slide deck to present the idea. Work through a script and offer to run through it a few times so they get comfortable. In each scenario, you practice to learn them to express your care and concern, which always improves relationships. What about learning them to deepen friendships or relationships with colleagues? We comment and post on Facebook and Instagram, tweet and blog, but we still feel disconnected and lonely. We go out with friends, attend cocktail parties, ladies' lunches, or networking events, and do the chit chat surface conversations. You know the trick, the shriek, the shtick. We rarely get beyond the how are you? Great, how are you? Doing good. 3-minute surface interaction. Dead silence. Take a sip of your drink. Scan the room for a diversion. Instead of a boring 2-minute exchange of pleasantries, what if you had a few learn them questions tucked away to communicate your interest and take your interaction to the next level? What if, how was your weekend? Great. Progressed to, really? What was great about your weekend? Followed by, how did you get into doing that? As they share, you begin to learn them, improving your connection and taking the relationship to a deeper level. How would life improve if we took the time to genuinely get to know the people in our life, to learn them and then engage on base engage based on what we learn? A former client, Ella, married into a family who loved adventure and trying new experiences. She would often email them ideas, event calendars, or Groupons, even though it wasn't really her thing. Ella knew her husband enjoyed adventures with his extended family, and she could bless him by being involved in planning them. Her tips and suggestions resulted in some fun trips and relationship building experiences for them, and he was grateful that she cared for him in this way. Taking time to learn the people in our lives, both personal and professional, can be fun. It opens doors to connections in new ways and will improve relationships because when people feel seen, known, and heard, they tend to let their guards down and are open to a deeper connection. Tips to practice skill number two, learn them. Skill number two, learn them doesn't have to be complicated. However, it does require being intentional and taking time to investigate and remember what you learned. These few tips will help you learn the people in your life. Love banks. Tip number one, learn their love languages. The Five Love Languages is an excellent book by Gary Chapman and the foundation for this tip. Now I'm going to say we will learn their love languages later. This will be an excellent book to look up. The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And we will talk about the year 1492. In the year 1492, we see from the Caravanserai Publishers Medieval World magazine that Christopher Columbus journeyed across the Atlantic to the Americas. The Jews were expelled from Spain. The Ensisheim meteorite, a 127 kilogram, 280-pound meteorite, landed in a wheat field in Alsace. Austria's most common brand of beer, Stagel, Little Stir, or Little Step, was established. China monetized the commercial transportation of grain in the north. The papal conclave was first held in the Sistine Chapel and elected Pope Alexander VI, and Lorenzo de' Medici, Duke of Urbino, was born. Casimir IV Jagiellon, King of Poland, died, and some Christians, early Eastern Christians, believed the year marked the end of the world, corresponding to the year 7000 in the Byzantine calendar. Okay, so there we go. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Old Kinderhook. Bye-bye.